Pitch Perfect gets a sequel, we review Django Unchained, and our guests compete in the first ever Campus King Challenge. Buckle up, ladies and gentlemen, this is Campus Cinema. Welcome to Campus Cinema. I'm your host, Patrick White. We've got another great show in store for you tonight. Let's begin by checking out the blockbuster buzz. The most prestigious of all awards shows took place last Sunday night, the Mtv Movie Awards. The ceremony awards individuals for monumental feats such as Best Scared as Performance, Best WTF Moment, and Best Shirtless Performance. Apparently voters don't watch Campus Cinema, am I right? The show did award Jamie Foxx with the Generation Award, Rebel Wilson for Breakthrough Performance, and The Avengers as the Movie of the Year. For the full list of winners and highlights of the show, head over to mtv.com. But not until after Campus Cinema, of course. The latest news out of Las Vegas' CinemaCon will have Pitch Perfect fans saying, Aca-awesome. Universal Pictures announced that the studio has plans to release a sequel to the comedy musical hit in 2015. Original writer Kay Cannon will return, and it's considered very likely that the cast will return as well. In horror news, Warner Brothers is currently producing a prequel to the horror classic The Shining. The film will be called The Overlook Hotel. In talks to write this prequel is Glenn Mazzara. Mazzara is best known as the showrunner for Season 2 and Season 3 of the TV phenomenon The Walking Dead. Sorry, Walker fanatics, but don't count on this project featuring Daryl as well. Moving now to last weekend's theatrical releases, 42 and Scary Movie 5 hit the big screens. One was a home run, the other a strikeout. 42 opened to mostly positive reviews, with critics calling the movie inspirational. Joe Newmeyer from the New York Daily News had this to say about the film. It's a sports film non-sports fans can love. It's a family film that never preaches. There are scenes that soar and challenge, and a half dozen that will make tears well up. Scary Movie 5 was not greeted quite so warmly. Kyle Smith from the New York Post had these not-so-kind words to say about the film. Put it this way. There's a spoof of Rise of the Planet of the Apes, in which gorillas throw their feces at the wall to see if it sticks. And you can't help wondering if this is actual documentary footage of the script meetings. Ouch. Critics and audiences must have been thinking alike this weekend. 42 was the #1 movie, earning $27 million. That gives the Jackie Robinson biopic the highest grossing weekend ever for a baseball movie. In second, with an underwhelming $14 million, was Scary Movie 5. That's less than half of the $40 million opening of Scary Movie 4 back in 2006. Take note, producers. If you want to resurrect an old franchise, it would probably be best not to star Charlie Sheen and Lindsay Lohan. Looking at this week's DVD and Blu-ray releases, Django Unchained hit store shelves on Tuesday. The film became the highest-grossing Quentin Tarantino film ever, when it earned $162 million this winter. The film was also nominated for 5 Academy Awards, including wins in the original screenplay and supporting actor category. This isn't the last you'll hear of Django. Make sure you stick around after the break when we review the film. You're watching Campus Cinema. Welcome back to Campus Cinema. I'm joined again by Mark Hewitt, and also Philip Mullen and Randy Marks. We're here to talk about Quentin Tarantino's latest film, Django Unchained. This is Real Talk. Django Unchained stars Jamie Foxx as a freed slave who partners with a bounty hunter to rescue his wife from a brutal Mississippi plantation owner. The film also stars Christoph Waltz and Leonardo Dicaprio as Calvin Candy. Now, first off, what did everyone think of the film? Mark, we'll start with you and move down the row.
I really liked it. I like all of Quentin Tarantino's films a lot. I mean, they certainly have their own style, but this one might be my favorite of all of them. I just like the story a lot, and the acting and soundtrack are both really good as well. So I really liked it.
Philip?
I agree with Mark. I think Quentin Tarantino is an incredible director, and he just knows exactly what he wants to shoot and how he's going to shoot it. And they always end up being at least grade B movies, if not grade A.
Randy?
Actually, I didn't really like it. Compared to all of his other works, I thought it was fairly mediocre.
Okay, fair enough. Anything to add to that?
Well, you know, when you compare it to like Inglourious Bastards, it seems to be like a rehash, a lot of the same themes, a lot of the same motifs. In general, though, it was good, but it wasn't great.
Fair enough. Now, how did you guys think Leonardo DiCaprio did as the villain in the film?
Awesome. He, I think this was his first villain role, as far as I know.
It's probably his first supporting role within like 20 years. He's just
True.
done lead acting roles over and over.
I liked him a lot. He made the second act of the movie, I think, go by really fast. It's like a 2-hour and 40-minute movie, but it flies by. And a lot of it, I think, is his character's. It's funny, but kind of scary and very charismatic. But I thought he did a really good job.
Excellent. Philip?
Yeah, I'd probably agree again with Mark. I think, his portrayal of a villain, one named Calvin Candy, he was, he just made the character so easy to love to hate, and that goes with just everything that's going on up through their ruse with him, and up until the point of the climax of the ruse.
This was the best part of the film. His performance. He's one of those actors who, if you've looked at his career, and I've been alive for most of his career, he's just really broken the mold so many times. From his first performance in What's Eating Gilbert Grape, it was almost 20 years ago, I believe, to this, he's showed himself as willing to really buck the trend and just do something completely different. And Quentin Tarantino, to his credit, in every film has at least one performance that's just so stellar. And that's one of his gifts, is drawing that out of someone. So I thought he was the best part of the film.
Good point. Now, there has been a lot of praise given regarding the film soundtrack, which combines elements of hip-hop, Western, and R&B. What did you guys think of the soundtrack?
I loved it. It was a little bit of everything, and that, I think, reflects Quentin Tarantino a lot. Just watching his movies, you can tell he does not really care what other movies are like. He does very much his own thing. Like there's rap in there, there's old-fashioned rock, there's everything. Sometimes at times where you don't expect that kind of music to be played. So you notice the soundtrack in the movie more than I think in a lot of other movies. It certainly, I thought, made it better.
I think the soundtrack complemented the movie very well. One of my favorite things about Quentin Tarantino is that he's always willing to mix and match certain genres. And I think through the extent of the soundtrack, he does that very deftly, combining elements of hip-hop with rock, with blues, bluegrass, with everything that he does in that. And it just goes to show that he's willing to make those points to show that a genre can be more than just one set of ideas.
Randy?
Yes. Honestly, I really did like the soundtrack. I hate to be contrarian about it, but like, I thought compared to, say, Inglourious Bastards or Pulp Fiction or especially Kill Bill, where the soundtrack was amazing, very well done. It perfectly complemented everything that was happening. Just felt like there were a couple good songs in Django Unchained, but for the most part, it was just kind of there. It was a distraction for me. I wasn't impressed by it. But I have a high standard for Quentin Tarantino.
Right.
I mean, I grew up thinking Pulp Fiction was one of the greatest films ever, and I thought Kill Bill was an amazing addition to the legacy, and the soundtracks were a part of that.
Yeah, no doubt. Now, the film was widely controversial because of the excessive use of the N-word and grisly portrayal of slaves. Director Spike Lee even claimed that the movie was racist. What are everyone's thoughts on that? Why don't we start with Randy this time?
You know, it's weird because you would probably object if they tried to whitewash the history of slavery. I mean, you wouldn't want it to be something where slaves are shown to be, smiling and happy and singing while they're working and completely joyful, because people would be like, that's idiotic. It was a horrible situation. And Spike Lee, I hate to say it, as much as I like some of his films, can be something of a hypocrite when it comes to stereotyping. That said, I think Quentin Tarantino is one of the few directors who's willing to really address the issues of race in this country in a very frank and sometimes brutal way, which I think is appropriate given that the history of slavery in this country is a very bloody and a very brutal one.
Well, Tarantino's been very blunt about his opinion of the N-word and the way we go about racism through today's society. And so you kind of have to go into the film understanding that the word is probably going to be tossed around a lot. Like, what was the exact number? Was it?
Oh, I couldn't tell you, but I'd say it's in the hundreds range.
Yeah, it was definitely over 100 times. And watching the film, you see some of his purpose for using the N-word in those certain situations. However, I also believe that there are a lot of times where they could have substituted it for something a lot less harsh.
Mm-hmm. Mark?
I think they interviewed Jamie Foxx about this, the star of it, and he was very much like, it's not, there's no ill intention behind it. It's not a big deal. I think part of it is Quentin Tarantino's style is very radical, and when you're doing something that includes slavery, then there's probably going to be a lot of that graphic language. But I think it was all done in a very positive, like empowering light.
Before we move to the last question, I'm going to kind of go through some of my thoughts on what we just talked about. Now, the film itself, I really enjoyed overall. Honestly, it took me the second time to enjoy it because I thought there were some issues with pacing. It's very humorous, and there's a lot of like kind of goofy things happening in the beginning, and then it just turns to this very serious film as soon as Leonardo DiCaprio enters. And it's very possible that Tarantino intended that, but it catches you off guard, honestly. And additionally, I'd say one of the problems I had with it was Tarantino's involvement as an actor in it. I thought he was just awful. Like, I mean, I know that he likes to be in his films, and he's better in Pulp Fiction, but him doing an Australian accent, and it kind of goes back to the whole N-word thing. He gave himself a chance to say that. So had he not done that, I wonder if he would have gotten less backlash. Yeah. As for DiCaprio's role, I would say absolutely he was excellent. It was a travesty that he wasn't nominated. I'm glad Christoph Waltz won, but nonetheless, it's unfortunate he wasn't nominated. Music's awesome. I listen to that soundtrack all the time, and it works. So thanks for your input, guys. Now it's time to play Professor and give Django Unchained an official letter grade. Mark, we'll start with you. All right.
I'll just give it an A.
Okay, solid A.
Yeah.
Philip?
I would probably give it an A-. I think it's definitely a movie that I'm going to be coming back to again and again just to watch it because I thought it was phenomenal and I enjoyed the heck out of it.
And Randy, are you going to stick to a B+ on it?
I'm actually going to quantify it. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to say probably about an 86, 87%. Okay. So B+. Okay. Honestly, like for me, Pulp Fiction is like a 98%. Mm-hmm. Inglourious Bastards is like somewhere around there, 98, 97%. This one just doesn't measure up to me.
I'm going to stick to my grade that I gave it when it first came out, which is an A. I do not disagree with Randy at all. I think he's right on the money when it comes to the actual genre and the tone of the film. But I really loved the comedic elements, and I thought he really grasped onto those well this time around. But I'd love to see him go back to doing something like Inglourious Bastards again. So that'll do it for Real Talk. When we come back, we'll once again be joined by Mark, Randy, and Philip as they compete in our first Campus King Challenge. You're watching Campus Cinema. Welcome back to the show. It's time now for a very special segment we like to call the Campus King Challenge. During the challenge, each person will be given 3 movie trivia questions. At the end of the game, the person with the most correct answers will take home our crown jewel, the Epic Bowl of Awesomeness, the perfect companion for all cinema goers. This week, we have a special theme for the segment. It's Tarantino Trivia. So, Is everyone ready to begin? Okay. Mark, here is your first question. What was Quentin Tarantino's first full-length theatrical film? Was it A, Kill Bill Volume 1, B, Pulp Fiction, C, Reservoir Dogs, or D, Jackie Brown?
I'm going to say C, Reservoir Dogs.
That is the correct answer. Well done, Mr. Hewitt. All right. Philip, you are next. Who are the bastards targeting in Inglourious Bastards? Is it A, communists, B, Nazis, C, Kim Jong-un, D, stormtroopers?
Well, that would definitely be B, the Nazis.
Dialect there, I like it. All right, and now Randy, finish this Pulp Fiction quote. You know what they call a quarter pounder with cheese in Paris? A, Le Big Cheese, B, Big Kahuna, C, Royale with cheese, or D, King Cheese?
C, Royale with cheese.
C, Royale with cheese is the correct answer. Well done on your first round, gentlemen. You all got your questions correct. Mark, here is your second question. Who is Tarantino's first choice to play Django? Was it A, Will Smith, B, Denzel Washington, C, Ryan Gosling, D, Don Cheadle?
I'm gonna guess A, Will Smith.
A, Will Smith is the correct answer. Well done. Philip, here is your second question. Finish this Reservoir Dogs quote. Are you gonna bark all day, little doggy, or are you gonna blank? A, lick my face. B, sniff my butt. C, bite, or D, roll over?
I think it's C, bite.
C, bite is the correct answer. Well done. And Randy, here is your second question. Who was Tarantino's original choice to play Hans Landa in Inglourious Bastards? Was it A, Michael Fassbender, B, Leonardo DiCaprio, C, Daniel Radcliffe, or D, Russell Crowe?
B, Leonardo DiCaprio.
Leonardo DiCaprio is correct. Well done. All right, last question, guys. We'll start with Mark. As of now, what is the title of Tarantino's next directorial film? Is it A, Killer Crow, B, Kill Bill 3, C, Pulp Fiction 2, or D, Finding Dory?
I'm gonna say B, Kill Bill 3.
Kill Bill 3 is unfortunately not the correct answer. Can anybody tell me what it is? No bonus points awarded.
A.
Yeah. Killer Crow. Nice. It was A. Disney Pixar presented Tarantino film. All right, Philip, here is your last question. What comedian has not appeared in a Quentin Tarantino film? Is it A, Mike Myers, B, Jim Carrey, C, Jonah Hill, or D, Chris Tucker?
I want to say that it would be D, Chris Tucker.
D, Chris Tucker was the incorrect answer. The answer was, in fact, Jim Carrey. Okay, Randy, this is for all the marbles right here. If you get this answer correct, and you're taking home that bucket full of fun. That's my own special name for it. Anywho. And Randy, here is your last question. Which body part does Mr. Blonde cut off of a police officer in the film Reservoir Dogs? Is it A, ear, B, nose, C, tongue, or D, thumb?
It's A.
It's A. Ear is the correct answer. Congratulations, Randy. You are the winner of today's Tarantino Trivia Campus King Challenge. Let's give it up for him, guys.
Yes, our winner.
All right, congratulations to our winner, Randy. You may now triumphantly raise your award above your head. Thank you to all of our contestants tonight, Mark Hewitt, Philip Mullen, and Randy Marks. When we come back, we're going to talk about today's new theatrical releases. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Campus Cinema. Before we say goodbye, let's check out today's new releases. Oblivion will begin its run at the Imperial Theater this weekend. The science fiction movie stars Tom Cruise and Morgan Freeman on a futuristic destroyed Earth. Cruise plays a veteran who is assigned to extract Earth's remaining resources. As his mission proceeds, he begins to question his assignment and what he knows about himself. The Rivoli now will also be playing The Call, which was actually released back in March. The thriller stars Halle Berry as a 911 operator who plays cat and mouse with a killer who has kidnapped a teenage girl. That'll do it for this week's episode. Thanks again to our guests, Mark, Philip, and Randy. Make sure you tune in next week. We'll be reviewing Oblivion. Thanks for tuning in. You're watching Campus Cinema.